from several radio telescopes on planet Earth, and Chilbolton was one of them. And this message could easily be decoded by any intelligent race because it was just sent in binary code. And it created a little symbolic kind of graph. It had a little matchstick man diagram showing the aliens what we looked like. It had a little kind of matchstick diagram of our solar system with a line underneath the third planet from the sun showing this is our planet, this is where we live, this is where this little stick man lives. He lives on this planet. It also had numerological information about how many people live on our planet, and it had information about the chemical makeup of our bodies, what we are actually made of. Now, what happened is just a few years ago, a version of that binary data diagram appeared as a crop circle right next to the fence of Chilbolton, where that original message had been broadcast into the cosmos in the 1970s. Now, this crop circle, when it was decoded, it showed a solar system where 3 of the planets had lines under them, showing that there were 3 inhabited planets in the solar system of the intelligence that made that crop circle. The diagram showed more or less like a little kind of grey alien instead of a stick man, kind of matchstick man figure. And the chemical makeup of their bodies is based on silicon. So that's just one example of, the kinds of things that are going on which don't make the mainstream media. I'd like to ask you guys, did you know that event had happened?
I have heard that, yes. And I always thought that they were sending out a diagram to anybody who needed to get any of our hardware.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the most reckless, stupid, I think that it's been the most dangerous thing to have ever done. There is the so-called golden disk on the side of the Voyager and Pioneer probes, which we sent into space nearly 40 years ago, with a recording of all of the languages of planet Earth being spoken by school children, all saying hello, and it had on this golden disk a map, a diagram showing a naked man, a naked woman, waving hello to the aliens, a map showing how to find our star in relationship to other constellations, and then a diagram of our solar system showing which planet we live on. And by far and away, this is the most reckless and stupid thing that's ever been done by NASA. Because, if an intelligent alien hostile race finds that, they're going to come straight to us.
Oh yeah. Well, there's 2 trains of thought, in my opinion. Well, at least with my trains of thought. Number one, yes, it was very, very reckless, and we're giving them instructions on how to come for us if they want to come get anything that we have to offer them. But number 2, in order to have that interstellar travel, wouldn't we need a higher state of consciousness to be able to handle that type of technology to get us from point A to point B like that? And if we don't have that higher state of consciousness, then we eventually wind up blowing ourselves up before we're able to utilize it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very, very good point. Mankind is being ruled by vindictive, nasty people. The royal political elite have a snide agenda. Their motivation is control. They have so much richness, they have so much wealth now, where they've asset stripped entire continents like Africa and India for the last 250 years, that they have no interest anymore in money. They have as much wealth as you could ever imagine. They don't have billions, they have trillions. What I believe is that the only game in town, the main game in town for these types of people, without any question, is some kind of communication with celestial forces to, extend their incredible ambition for wealth beyond this planet and to start mining and building, wealth centers on other planets. This is what I really think this is what's going to unfold in the future history of mankind. We're going to see the royal political elite, rather like you see in the film Avatar, actually asset stripping planets where the indigenous population are less advanced than we are. So it's a bit like in the 18th century, the 17th century, the Europeans going into Africa and finding people that were living on the land, they were living in harmony with the seasons, but they were unindustrialized. And so what did they do? They colonized those places in Africa. They enslaved those people. They killed them. They took all of their possessions. They asset stripped their land. And this is the danger of sending these maps and messages into space, showing aliens where we are. Because if we have an alien contact with an intelligence which is way in advance of us, they will come down here, possibly, and they might asset strip the entire planet. Or the other possibility is that they would not waste their resources by taking our gold and our minerals by force. A secret deal might be done. A secret deal might be hatched behind the scenes where an alien terrestrial intelligence comes down, does a deal with our royal political elite, and they harvest from us genetic material, they harvest and mine minerals or things that they need for their own economies on their own planets. And so really that's going to be the subject of another film, which I'm going to make probably next year. So I think it's very, very stupid and reckless to give aliens, these maps, which are etched in gold, so they'll never corrode. And the Voyager and Pioneer craft are now leaving the solar system. They've been going in space for 40 years. They're way past Pluto now.
Well, not only that, but you just made chills go up and down my arm. They sent a gold plate out there, and as far as I can understand, gold is a very precious metal in the universe. Earth is one of the few planets that's just abundant, that has this in abundance. So that can be something that they're after to begin with.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Well, that's a fascinating point. Did you know that the welcome message, the audio recording on these gold discs on the Pioneer and Voyager spacecraft, did you know that the welcome message to Earth saying, "Hi, aliens, welcome"? Did you know who recorded that welcome message?
I want to say Adolf Hitler. I remember Hitler sending something out, but I could be wrong.
You're very close. You're very close. It was actually the Secretary General of the United Nations. And his name was Kurt Waldheim.
Oh, wow.
And he was a former SS officer who had been awarded by Heinrich Himmler the Totenkopf Death Head award for, this was an award given to the most nasty, horrible members of the SS death cult. And he was the Secretary General of the United Nations, or at least he was until he got exposed as being an SS Nazi. And it's his voice which the aliens will hear welcoming the alien intelligences to planet Earth.
Wow.
Yeah, I can actually, if you want to have a little break, I can actually set up and I can play that Kurt Waldheim recording for you, if you'd like me to.
Yeah,
That would be
absolutely.
amazing, yeah.
Absolutely. Let me keep it going for just a few minutes. I have to get with the network so they can run a break since they cut all the commercials. Let me ask you this, though. While we do that, what is this Nazi involvement? It makes me almost wonder as if maybe there's a galactic federation and it's run in a totalitarian state and they're trying to bring Earth up to that point to join this galactic federation. I know that's a wild thought, but that's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, I mean, there were, in the era just before Nazi Germany came to prominence, and by the way, the whole Third Reich was actually funded and managed by the sovereign Bavarian royal households. They handpicked Hitler. They handpicked Heinrich Himmler. In actual fact, Heinrich Himmler was the godson of Prince Heinrich of Bavaria. So the first thing is that the Third Reich is really the royal Third Reich. They were created and actually managed by the royals, and they are the same families, the Saxe-Coburgs, the Saxe-Rautenbergs. These are the same families that now occupy all of the thrones in Europe, and they are the richest people on the planet. Now, the era just before the Third Reich, you had places like Berlin. In the turn of the century, it was the most libertarian place you could ever imagine. It was like a modern version of Sodom and Gomorrah. There were people into all kinds of spiritual, cosmic kind of teachings. And people like Helena Blavatsky, her writings were very, very popular. And you had all of these secret societies. Now, some of those secret societies were very, very interested in making telepathic communication with cosmic entities. These are entities that might not actually even be physical. I'm not necessarily saying that they would, try and telepathically communicate with the Greys. They would try and make telepathic communion with any force, any intelligent force in the universe. And they were fascinated by certain constellations. They were fascinated by the Pleiades. They were fascinated by a star called Aldebaran. And many secret societies in Germany, just in the pre-Third Reich period, were having ceremonies, high ceremonial magical rituals, designed to get themselves telepathically connected with intelligent forces. And that's, that's a historical fact. These secret societies really did exist, and that's really what they were doing. That's not a conspiracy theory. That is all really well documented, and you can see parts of this information in my Secret Space films, and also the documentaries I've made about the Illuminati global network of secret societies. This is, something which really was going on. It's something which I believe is still going on to this day.
It's a conspiracy fact for sure. Christopher Everard, EnigmaTV.com. We're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. TruthFrequencyRadio.com is our website, and we will see you on the other side. As soon as the network cues up the commercials, there we go.
With a horrid little pistol and a lariat. She's gone to the bottom and she's going down the drain. Said she wasn't big enough to carry it. She said, get behind the mule in the morning and plow. She gotta get behind the mule in the morning and plow. She gotta get behind